After 18 years of being his doormat, I made a deal with a demon. I traded my obsession with love for a lifetime of happiness. At the time, I didn't get it. How could I be happy without love? But then I became a billionaire with a stable of handsome men at my beck and call. It wasn't just happiness. I was on top of the world. Stella's sick. I'm not coming home tonight. Hearing Kevin's voice on the phone, a sharp pain shot through my chest. He'd forgotten. Today was my birthday. I had loved him for 18 years. I'd been with him through his toughest times, and after all that waiting, we'd finally seen the light at the end of the tunnel. We were about to get engaged. But none of that mattered against Stella's casual little line. "Kevin, I'm back." I wiped away a tear and forced a smile. "Is Stella okay? Do you need me to go get her some medicine? I'm not doing anything anyway. Maybe I should come see." Before I could finish, Kevin cut me off impatiently with a curt "no need," and hung up. I stared blankly at the huge spread of food I'd made, all his favorites, slowly growing cold on the table. How did it come to this? Just last night, he was holding me, promising he had a surprise for me today. I had already found the engagement ring in his coat pocket. When Stella had called him crying, he'd been so cold, telling her that I was the one in his heart now. I tilted my head back and downed a whole bottle of red wine, the liquid trickling from the corner of my mouth down my neck. A low sob escaped my lips, starting as a quiet whimper before growing into a heart-wrenching cry. Who was crying? It was me. Then a mocking laugh rang out, as if someone had just witnessed an incredibly absurd comedy. And who was laughing? Through my blurry, tear-filled eyes, I saw a black mist floating in front of me. "Chloe, the pain radiating from you is simply delicious. Make a deal with me. I can help you." This wine was strong. I had no idea what kind of thing had just wandered into my drunken dream. I giggled stupidly and reached out to touch the black mist. "Hey, can you make me happy? It hurts so much. Loving someone hurts too much." My brow furrowed and I slammed my hand on the table with a whack, bursting into tears. I know I'm pathetic, but I can't control it. I really, really love Kevin. The black mist drifted a foot closer. "This one can grant you happiness, but you must trade your most precious possession for it. Hold out your hand. Let me see what you hold most dear." I stretched out my hand while wiping away tears. To you your most precious thing is love. In that case, I will take your love-addled brain." In an instant, I felt something being pulled from my body, and a wave of lightness washed over me. "You." My eyes rolled back, and I passed out completely. The next morning, a relentlessly ringing phone woke me up. I rubbed my temples and answered with extreme irritation. "Who the hell is this? You got a death wish, calling this early?" Kevin, on the other end, paused for a moment, then double-checked the number on his phone. "Chloe." His voice turned colder. "Were you drinking last night? Who with? None of your damn business." I snapped. Kevin's tone became tinged with impatience. "I need you to iron my suit and bring it to the office. And I didn't get a decent meal last night, so make some food and bring it over too. Stella's here as well. She can't eat much, so grab some hot congee on your way." I was about half awake now. I glanced down at my phone. The strange thing was, seeing the name Kevin on the screen, I felt nothing. No heartbreak, no sweetness, not even resentment. It was as if he were just some random stranger who had woken me up with an annoying spam call. I suddenly remembered last night's ridiculous dream. Don't tell me I actually traded away what was it, my love-addled brain? "Chloe." Kevin's impatient voice urged me from the other end of the line. I snapped back to reality, mumbled an "okay," and immediately hung up. Then I turned off my phone, pulled the covers over my head, and went back to sleep. If Kevin starved to death, what did that have to do with me? I wasn't his mother. As for Stella, she was the one who stood in front of me, looking down her nose as she told me I was the third wheel. She could forget about me, the third wheel bringing her food. She'd be lucky if I didn't spit in it. Sleeping in feels amazing. After graduating, I'd gone straight to work helping Kevin build his startup, foregoing a career of my own. Now his business was thriving, and Stella had swooped in to become his executive assistant. There was nothing left for me to do. Free from the corporate grind, I slept until noon. When I woke up, I was scrolling through my phone, thinking about ordering takeout, when I saw several missed calls from Kevin. I ignored them and, with a slip of my thumb, accidentally opened TikTok. A video popped up. Nationwide search for my sister. I thought it was just another clickbait stunt. But when I clicked on it, I was shocked to see it was Leo Sheng, the heir to the Sheng Corporation, holding up a sign with tears in his eyes, searching for his long-lost sister. Curiosity piqued, I kept watching. My sister was taken by someone with malicious intent right after she was born. We have no idea where she was trafficked. Our family has been searching for her all these years, but we've never had any news. Leo Sheng choked up as he spoke. Now, our grandfather is gravely ill and just wants to see his granddaughter one last time before he goes. We have no other choice but to ask the public for help. If you see a girl with the following features, please contact us immediately. We will offer a substantial reward. The words substantial reward immediately caught my attention. All these years, I hadn't saved a single penny of my own. Every cent I earned, I'd foolishly deposited into Kevin's account. I scrimped and saved to make sure Kevin looked sharp and successful for his business meetings. Now he was a big boss, but I wasn't going to be the boss's wife. Since I was ready to dump Kevin, what I needed most right now was money. I took out a small notebook and carefully jotted down the physical characteristics Leo described. A heart-shaped birthmark on the left side of her lower back. I wrote it down. Large eyes with monolids. I wrote it down. Most importantly, she was born with 6 fingers. The more I wrote, the more unbelievable it seemed. Was he describing me? I was found in a dumpster downstairs from our apartment building by Kevin's mom, who took me in and raised me alongside Kevin, as if I were her own daughter. I guess you could call us childhood sweethearts. The reason I was so devoted to Kevin was partly because of that stupid, love-addled brain of mine, and partly to repay his mother's kindness. When his mom found me, I had a small, floppy extra finger on my right hand. She took me to have it surgically removed, and even kept the photos from back then. I have a heart-shaped birthmark on my lower back, and Kevin used to tease me all the time about my monolids. Could I really be Leo Sheng's sister? When Kevin came home, the first thing he saw was me sitting in the living room with a suitcase. He instinctively frowned. What are you doing? I let your antics slide during the day, but what kind of stunt are you pulling now? He sighed as he spoke. Never mind. Is dinner ready? Go change and let's eat. I looked up at him, my expression perfectly unapologetic. I didn't make any. Kevin froze, then shook his head, looking exhausted and annoyed. I was up all night taking care of a sick Stella, and I've been swamped at the office all day. I'm exhausted. Can you please be a little more considerate? Don't do this to me. I know yesterday was your birthday. I didn't forget. I'm making it up to you with this gift today. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the small, blue velvet box, holding it out as if bestowing a great favor. Chloe, I've decided to mar. Kevin, I'm leaving, I said, cutting him off. Kevin's pupils contracted, and his hand instantly tightened around the box. Leaving? Where are you going? I glanced at the box in his hand and let out a small, cold laugh. That's none of your business anymore. Kevin, I'm letting you and Stella be together. As for what's in there, you should give it to the person you really want to give it to. A flicker of panic appeared in Kevin's eyes, but his face remained a mask of indifference. Chloe, stop joking around. This is your home. Where else would you go? Home. I laughed as if I'd just heard the funniest joke in the world. You know, as I was packing today, I realized something. I've lived in this house for so many years, yet everything I own fits into this one suitcase. You even have more of Stella's things stored here than I have of my own. I tightened my grip on the suitcase handle and walked, step by step, toward the door. The moment my hand touched the doorknob, a large hand clamped down on my wrist, holding it tight. I looked up and took in the sight of Kevin's utter devastation. His Adam's apple bobbed. He stared straight into my eyes and uttered, in a tone that was almost a threat, Chloe, if you walk out that door, you're never coming back. Are you sure about this? A corner of my mouth twitched, my expression unruffled. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Can you let go now? You're hurting me. Kevin froze and instinctively released his grip. I walked out crisply, hailed a cab, and didn't look back. As the breeze whispered past my ears, I couldn't help but narrow my eyes. My heart was pounding like a drum. I had a feeling that by walking away like this, my future was about to race off in an unimaginable direction. The family reunion happened much faster than I expected. It felt like 1 second I was stepping into the Shung Corporation headquarters, and the next I was holding a DNA test, being led into the Shung family mansion by a teary-eyed Leo. Leo pointed to the people on the sofa, introducing them one by one. Chloe, this is your second brother, Noah. He ran off to join the entertainment industry. He's the black sheep of the family. I stared at my handsome brother and swallowed hard. Apparently, black sheep meant an Oscar-winning actor. Chloe, this is your third brother, Julian. He's a painter, a real artsy type. I looked at my third brother, with his gold-rimmed glasses, and my mind went blank. So my third brother was an internationally renowned artist whose paintings sold for 6 figures. Chloe, this is your fourth sister, Faye. She's decent looking, I guess. I clutched my chest to calm my racing heart. Apparently, decent looking meant a former Miss Asia. With tears in my eyes, I opened my arms. Brothers, sister, I've finally found you. Leo. Pause all meetings. I'm getting a hug. Noah. Forget the movie. I'm getting a hug. Julian. The canvas can wait. I'm getting a hug. Faye. Cancel the photo shoot. I'm getting a hug. Faye was the softest and gave the best hugs. Before, I had taken my adoptive mother's last name, so I was Chloe Gu. Now that I was back with the Shung family, I naturally took back my real last name. That very night, my eldest brother made a public announcement online. We've found our little sister, Chloe Shung. To thank everyone, here's a $1 million cash giveaway. The internet exploded with praise for the Shung Corporation's generosity. I was finally experiencing the joy of being a billionaire heiress. Walking into my closet was like browsing a luxury department store. And the jewelry was dazzling. My second brother, Noah, made a short film dedicated to me about doting on a little sister. My third brother, Julian, painted an abstract portrait of me. My fourth sister, Faye, gave me a head-to-toe makeover that left me stunningly beautiful. Even my monolids, which I'd always been self-conscious about, became a chic and defining feature under her skilled hands. And my eldest brother, he just tossed me $100 million project and told me to have fun with it. Chloe, invest it however you want. If you lose it all, think of it as pocket money. If you make a profit, it's all yours. I hadn't felt this fired up in years. After graduation, at Kevin's urging, I had turned down a promising offer from a top-tier company to become his personal and professional assistant. I always put his interests first, fighting every battle for him. I gradually lost myself in his constant refrains of, Chloe, I couldn't have done it without you. I had forgotten how ambitious I once was, how much I wanted to build something of my own. I opened the file and saw that 2 companies were under consideration for funding. Coincidentally, one of them was Kevin's company, KS Tech. Ironic, wasn't it? The company was named after Kevin and Stella back when they were madly in love. Even after they broke up, and even when he was about to propose to me, the name remained KS. I felt a wave of relief mixed with lingering fear. Thank God that demon took away my love-addled brain. Otherwise, I'd still be playing the faithful touchstone for their relationship, watching them get closer and closer again while I foolishly kept giving my all, suffering in silence. This was, after all, the first real project I was leading. I wasn't going to let my personal feelings cloud my judgment. I channeled the same focus I had during my SATs, poring over the numbers in the thick stacks of documents. I knew that for either company, our investment would be a lifeline. If the project succeeded, it would be their ticket to an IPO. The phone rang at an inopportune moment. I put down the documents and stared at the name Kevin, flashing on the screen. After a 2-second hesitation, I answered. Chloe, where's the first aid kit? I burned my arm. For some reason, Kevin's voice sounded almost pitiful over the phone. By all rights, I should have shown some concern. But I didn't want to. Second floor, second drawer of the nightstand. If that's all, I'm hanging up. Wait, don't hang up. Kevin took a deep breath before stammering. Chloe, I know you must be having a hard time out there. It's time to come home. Seeing no reaction from me, Kevin's voice grew more urgent. Chloe, I can't live without you. I'm used to you picking out my suit and tying my tie every morning. I'm used to coming home to the soup you make every night. I'm used to you unconditionally taking my side, no matter what I do. After my mom passed away, you were the only one I had. How could you just leave like that? Come back. I'm begging you, okay? Hearing him say all this, flashes of me and Kevin relying on each other after his mom's death played in my mind. But aside from a brief trip down memory lane, I couldn't bring myself to feel any empathy for him. All I could think was that I had been his glorified maid, enduring his and Stella's condescension, while willingly burning myself out for him. I was such an idiot. Now he wanted me to come back and continue being his maid? Only if I were a complete fool. I was just a boring grain of rice stuck to the wall, while Stella was his dazzling red rose. So who was he putting on this pathetic, sad sack performance for now? Kevin, Stella can do all of those things you just mentioned. Therefore, your argument is invalid. Request denied. With that, I quickly hung up and blocked his number. Turning back to the 2 files on my desk, all the data suddenly seemed crystal clear. I tossed KS text file in the trash and chose the other up-and-coming company. My sister Faye knew I'd been swamped lately, so once I had a moment to breathe, she started taking me out to all sorts of parties and events. Beauty is a powerful asset, and money is a universal passport. When you combine the two, you're practically invincible. With Faye by my side, I moved effortlessly through every social circle. One day, an A-list actor was begging to join my harem. The next, a hotshot tech founder was sending me a giant diamond ring. All in all, after a week of partying, I had added 50 high-quality handsome men to my phone's contact list. Waking up in the morning to 50 good morning, Chloe texts was pure bliss. One of them, a contestant from a reality show named Aiden, contacted me the most frequently. Have you had breakfast, Chloe? It's getting chilly, so make sure to stay warm. I sipped my milk contentedly and replied, eating now. Ding. My phone chimed again. Aiden. Fueling up for another great day. Attached was a classic gym mirror selfie, him in a tank top, with the hem lifted just enough to reveal a hint of his chiseled abs. Well, this kid knows all the moves. Feeling playful, I messaged back, nice body. Aiden reacted like an excited puppy wagging its tail. Chloe, tonight's the elimination round. Are you coming to watch it live? I replied, can't make it, but I'll be watching the live stream and cheering for you from afar. I was shouting at my tablet with all my might, but that night, Aiden was eliminated anyway. I opened my phone to send him a few words of comfort, but the screen showed Aiden is typing. I paused. Aiden sent a sad emoji. Chloe, I got eliminated. I'm so sad QAQ. Do you think you could help me out? I really want to debut. I was completely stunned. How long had we even known each other? He was being way too direct. Seeing my silence, Aiden sent a shy emoji. You're the only one who can help me, Chloe. As long as I can debut, I'll do anything you want, hint, hint. My image of Aiden as a sunny, wholesome guy completely shattered. That tiny spark of interest I had was gone. All I could think was good riddance. If someone like him made it big, the entertainment industry would be doomed. I was just about to type out a stern lecture for Aiden when my phone rang. Seeing the name Stella pop up, I frowned. Are these two ever going to give it a rest? Stella's voice was laced with suppressed bitterness and sorrow. Chloe, you need to come see Kevin. Oh right. They still didn't know my last name was Sheng now. Leo Sheng's sister. Kevin's allergic to alcohol, but he forced down 2 whole bottles. I tried to take him to the hospital, but he won't let me touch him. He just keeps calling out your name. For the sake of your many years together, please come save him. I rolled my eyes. If he needs saving, call an ambulance. Do I look like I have a magic potion or a medical license? My fingers flew across the keyboard as I consulted a legal advice website. Counselor, if he dies under these circumstances, would I be held responsible? No, you would not. However, you might face moral condemnation. After finishing my consultation, I realized Stella was still rambling on the phone. Chloe, I admit it. I lost. I accidentally overheard a conversation between Kevin and the senior execs today. He said they plan to rename the company Chloe Tech after the IPO. I almost fell apart. You have no idea what I've sacrificed to be by his side. Click. I hung up on her and immediately blocked her number too. Then I called. Worried the paramedics might be too gentle, I gave them specific instructions. This patient has thick skin. If he refuses to get in the ambulance, just knock him out and carry him away. Phew. That should shield me from any moral condemnation, right? Ugh, in less than half an hour, that Aiden kid had sent me 99 plus messages. It was hurting my eyes. I casually dragged him into my block list as well. Then I scrolled through my contacts, picked another handsome guy at random, and started a new chat. You up? Let me see those abs. The guy, clearly flattered, immediately sent a sexy photo. Yes, just what I need to cleanse my eyes. I never would have guessed that the reality show would randomly add a revival round. Somehow, Aiden came back and even managed to debut. He wasn't the top star, but he signed with a good agency and had decent opportunities. It wasn't until a cocktail party that I saw him fawning over a wealthy woman in her 50s, carrying her purse and calling her sis, with every other word. I got it instantly. He had found his real one and only sis. Seeing me looking their way, the woman raised her glass to me from afar and gave Aiden's side a playful pinch. Aiden offered an awkward smile and gave me a slight nod, a silent greeting. The scene was a little too much for me to handle. I turned to look for my brother. I found Leo surrounded by two men in sharp suits. The back of one of them looked vaguely familiar. When he saw me approach, Leo looked like he'd been saved. This is my sister, Chloe Sheng. I've put her in charge of the funding decision for both of your companies. The choice is in her hands. You can talk to her. As he finished speaking, the two men in front of him turned around in unison, and Leo made his escape without a backward glance. Ms. Sheng, hello, I'm the CEO of KS Tech. I watched as Kevin's words trailed off, his smile freezing and the muscles in his cheeks twitching. While Kevin and I were locked in a stare, the CEO of the other tech company, Mr. Zhang, quickly stepped forward and extended his hand. Hello, Ms. Sheng. I snapped back to reality and shook his hand. Kevin seemed dazed. His lips moved, but no sound came out. But my brain, as if by muscle memory, instantly read his lips. How can this be? Right in front of Kevin, I handed the signed documents to Mr. Zhang and even gave him a hug. It was a pleasure doing business with you. Kevin didn't say another word, not even as he followed me out of the main hall. Why are you following me? This guy, Kevin, had been trailing me the whole time, shamelessly walking about 3 feet behind me. I couldn't shake him. I went into the women's restroom, and he stood guard outside, thoughtfully holding my purse. I looked him up and down, half suspecting he was an imposter. Nope. The genuine, slightly flawed article. Kevin stood before me with his head lowered, greedily drinking in the sight of me. Chloe, I haven't seen you in so long. I let out a cold laugh. Was he trying to play the sympathy card for funding? Kevin, who are you putting on this act for? You think saying that will make me go soft? Not a chance. The contract is signed. It's a done deal. You'll have to find funding somewhere else. Before I could finish, Kevin pulled me into his arms. He held me tightly, his chin resting on my shoulder, his voice hoarse. Chloe, just let me hold you for a minute. Just a little while. I've been so tired lately. I can only feel calm when you're with me. He clung to me, inhaling my familiar scent as if it were a drug. Something cold and wet seeped into the fabric on my neck. When I stopped struggling, he seemed to take it as a victory, holding me even tighter, burying his head deeper, and crying harder. And all I could think was, this dress costs 6 figures. A normal person's annual salary. And he just ruined it with his tears. Should I make him pay for it? Whatever. We go way back. I'll give him a 20% discount. After Kevin finished crying, his eyes were just a little red at the corners. It added a touch of softness to his usually stern face. I chimed in at the perfect moment. I'll have the bill for the dress sent to your company. Please make sure the payment is on time. I could see the corner of Kevin's mouth twitch. Okay. As we neared the entrance, Kevin remembered that I couldn't drive and had never owned a car. A light flickered in his eyes. Chloe, it's late. Let me drive you home. I let out a soft laugh. Sure. But I pointed to a line of supercars, with handsome men getting out of each one. You'll have to beat them to it. Kevin froze, his steps faltering. A 6 feet 1 inch stunner rushed to my side first, draping his jacket over my shoulders. This gentleman is so thoughtless. How could he let Chloe walk to the door in high heels? She'll hurt her ankles. If it were me, I would have carried her princess style, so her shoes wouldn't even touch a speck of dust. Chloe is a princess. I couldn't bear to see her suffer even a little. The familiar tune of his words caught me off guard. Even though I had goosebumps all over my back, I pretended to be flattered and shot a meaningful glance at Kevin. Kevin's lips were pressed into a thin line, the muscles in his jaw tight. He clearly remembered it too. Back when Stella first returned, she'd used this same passive-aggressive playbook. How can Chloe be so bad at taking care of you? It just breaks my heart. Kevin, are we spending too much time together? Do you think it's making Chloe unhappy? Why won't Chloe let you come pick me up? It's normal for friends to help each other. Besides, you know I'm scared of walking home alone at night. By the time Kevin snapped out of it, I was already in the 6 feet 1 inch guy's Maybach, simultaneously texting goodnight to 10 other handsome men, while feeding the driver my own brand of manipulative lines. It's so nice to have a friend like you. I hope you're always by my side. Seeing his ears turn bright red, I copied the message and sent it to the other few dozen guys on my list. When Stella received the bill for my dress at her office, she immediately called me from the company line, her voice accusatory. I thought you broke up with Kevin. Why are you still messing with him? I sighed. It was just about a dress. How did you manage to read so much into it? You should be a novelist. Stella snorted. Chloe, we're both women. Who do you think you're fooling? She paused, then said, How about this? I'll give you the check directly. Let's meet. I agreed. We decided on the coffee shop downstairs from their office. I casually picked a guy from my roster and had him drive me there in his Ferrari. Stella was so stunned by my high-profile, flashy entrance that her eyes nearly popped out of her head. She hastily took a large gulp of coffee to hide her emotions, only to choke on it and start coughing. I walked over and kindly patted her on the back a couple of times, but she slapped my hand away. Stella stared at me for a long time before suddenly letting out a self-deprecating laugh, her eyes becoming empty and lost. Chloe, do you believe in demons? My smile vanished. I tapped my fingers on the table, motioning for her to continue. Stella gave a bitter laugh. If I told you I've made 2 deals with a demon, you'd think I was crazy, wouldn't you? The demon said I could trade my most precious possession for anything I wanted. The first time, I traded Kevin's love for me for a great career. Later, I saw the demon again. I told it I had regrets, but it said all sales were final. So the second time, I chose to trade my career to make you leave Kevin. And just like that, everything clicked into place. That's why the demon came to me, offering a lifetime of happiness in exchange for my obsession with love. Across from me, Stella was alternating between laughing and crying, like a woman who had completely lost her mind. I watched her calmly, occasionally handing her a tissue. Stella suddenly grabbed my hand, her own trembling as she spoke. Chloe, you have almost everything now. Just do me this one favor and stay far away from Kevin, please. I sighed and pointed out the window. See that Ferrari that just dropped me off? The owner is a half-American model. Perfect chiseled face, body like a Greek god. And he's just one fish in my pond. So Stella, you really don't need to worry. I leaned in closer and whispered in her ear, word by word. The Kevin you treasure so much, he's nothing to me now. With that, I took the check from the table and walked out without another word. I don't know if everyone who makes a deal with the demon gets a follow-up visit. But I saw it again. It was the same mass of black smoke, appearing suddenly at the foot of my bed. Chloe Guo, no, I should call you Chloe Sheng now. So how are things? Is there anything else you'd like to trade? Your most precious possession now is your happiness. You could trade it for many wonderful things. I shook my head and rejected the demon's offer outright. These days, I wake up to a loving breakfast made by my eldest brother. I open my phone to see my second brother publicly doting on me all over social media. The villa next door is a princess palace my third brother designed just for me. If I feel lonely at night, I can go snuggle with my sweet, soft sister Faye. And if I feel like having some fun with a man, I can just pull up a high-quality hottie from my phone. What more could I possibly want? The demon left, dejected, looking so annoyed it seemed to regret the deal it made with me. Well, this stuff is just like business. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The demon will get used to it. The project I invested in was a huge success, and the tech startup went public smoothly. I became even more of a rising star in my social circles, with handsome men constantly showering me with praise. Meanwhile, Kevin somehow secured funding from another source and took his company public around the same time. He also changed the company name to Chloe Tech. I heard that the day the name was changed, Stella submitted her resignation in tears. Kevin approved it without a second glance. It was as if he'd suddenly sworn off love entirely, throwing himself into his work and driving Chloe Tech's growth with a manic energy. I wonder if I had something to do with that. If so, I'm honored. When I went to visit my adoptive mother's grave, I ran into Kevin again. It had been another year since we'd last seen each other. He looked much more mature, his eyes filled with a cold, weathered look. We stood before his mom's grave and reminisced about our childhood like old friends. Me. Remember back in grade school when the teacher made you stand in the hall, and I followed you right out? Talk about loyalty, right? Kevin. Of course. But I also remember it was because you stuffed a comic book in my desk and the teacher caught you. That's why I got sent out. Me. Well, do you remember the first meal I ever cooked for you? Kevin. I do. Coke braised chicken wings. Except you used vinegar instead of Coke. It was so sour. Me. Ahem. Fine, but do you remember my desk mate in high school, the handsome class president? He showed up one day with a black eye. Wonder who did that? Kevin. I did. Because I overheard him bragging to his friends that you were head over heels in love with him. The atmosphere suddenly fell still. Kevin slowly turned his head and looked me seriously in the eyes. Chloe, we were so close. Just a little bit more, and we would have been married. But it's impossible for us now, isn't it? Missing your chance can happen in an instant. But sometimes, it takes a lifetime to live with the regret of that one instant. I didn't say anything. Kevin stared at the flowers in front of us, his eyes unfocused. The day you left, I just felt empty. But later, I realized just how quiet the house was with only one person in it. I realized how much thought it takes to choose a suit and accessories for every occasion. I realized how many tiny details go into all the things I used to take for granted. I realized I was the one who couldn't live without you. He sniffled and wiped his face. You know, Chloe? I thought making Stella my assistant so you wouldn't have to worry about work was my way of taking care of you. But I see now it was just another way of torturing you. I started doing what you used to do. Leaving a light on, sitting on the sofa all night in front of a dark TV. I tried to feel what you felt. And I realized that feeling of lonely waiting. It's like slowly roasting a relationship over a fire. Once it's burned away, there's truly nothing left. As I listened to his description, the past replayed before my eyes. Back then, I would often sit on the sofa all night, hugging a pillow, just hoping Kevin would come home early. Kevin couldn't handle his liquor, but Stella would always pretend to be drunk after a work dinner, and make him take her home. And on those drives, she would grab his hand and confess her feelings under the guise of being drunk. I'd wait all night at home, while they spent the night in a haze of ambiguity. The one you can't have is always the most alluring, the one who is loved is always the most reckless. It started with so much hope, then dwindled to a tiny sliver, and finally faded into numb despair. In that relationship, from the very beginning, I was the one running toward Kevin with all my might. And Kevin wasn't willing to take a single step. Now I've returned to where I started, and he's finally started running with all his might. But we're like two intersecting lines. We've already passed our point of intersection, and can only move further and further apart. After talking with Kevin, we decided to head back. And so it was time for my most difficult decision of the day. I scrolled and scrolled through my phone, finally landing on my most recent edition. Sa, the esports god. I heard this guy, Sa, went bankrupt on a startup and was forced to switch careers and become a pro gamer. But thanks to his over-the-top dramatic way of talking, his flawlessly handsome face, and a brain that was brilliant at gaming but not much else, he became the hottest new esports star. Kevin was used to this by now. He waited with me until a flashy sports car pulled up, then drove off in his Mercedes S. The car window rolled down, revealing a face so handsome it was almost offensive. Woman, you dare summon me to be your chauffeur? That opening line was a bit much. I got in the car and gave his cheek a playful pinch. All right, settle down. You've got the ego of an emperor, but the destiny of a servant. You still think you're a demon? Sa rolled his eyes. It's all your fault. I lost so much on that deal with you that my superiors demoted me to human form. They said I have to figure out how business works on Earth before I can go back to being a demon. I leaned in, offering a brilliant idea. How about this? I've got more money than I know what to do with. I'll provide the capital for you to start a business. And if you want to keep gaming, you can. I'll cover everything. Consider it my way of repaying the favor. The only condition is you have to let me kiss you. Sa's eyes lit up. Really? I nodded like a woodpecker. Absolutely. Deal. The moment he agreed, I leaned over and planted a kiss on his cheek. Smack. Kissing a demon, not bad. I'd been wanting to try that for a while. Using my least valuable asset, money, to get multiple things of positive value in return. I'd made out like a bandit. I get an esports god to advertise my company. I get to score brownie points with a demon. And my roster of men grows by one, diversifying the species in my pond. Turns out, I'm the best deal maker of all. The end.